we need to talk about this.
Does Strategy have any plans to publish their on-chain proof of reserves?
The way the current conventional way to publish proof of reserves is an insecure. It's not a good idea. It's a bad idea.
Hello and welcome to your Mining Disrupt News Surge for, we're halfway through this year already. It is Monday, June 2nd, 2025. Before I get into everything this week, please remember this is where you come for entertainment and education. I am not the guy that you should be listening to when it comes to financial stuff, even though we talk about financially related things like Bitcoin here. Before I go any further, you need to scan that QR code right there. Well, that's after you like and subscribe and leave a comment, but then immediately after or right before you do all that, doesn't really matter the order of operations, but you need to make sure you scan this QR code, get your tickets to the Texas, that's right, Dallas, Texas area Mining Disrupt Expo 2025, number 2 happening this year, November 11th through the 13th. The great state of Texas is the home of Bitcoin mining when it comes to mining in the United States of America. And we are aiming to make this country the greatest Bitcoin mining country in the world. And if that's the heart of it, then that is the heart of Bitcoin mining in the entire world. Let's go ahead and cruise through the numbers over here. Whoa, look at that. The last block was found almost 45 minutes ago. That's interesting. We are still over $100,000. This is the longest we've ever been over $100,000. Public nodes are still over 21,000, looking good there. The priority fees are a little bit higher than we've typically seen. Anytime fees are still low. Unconfirmed transactions, 20,000. Things are looking quite healthy. All right, now let's go over that clip that I played at the beginning. I don't know why you got into Bitcoin. Doesn't really matter. And that's kind of half of the point of Bitcoin. It's up to you to do whatever you want to do with it. It's none of my business. Now, even though I have my lawyering degree in bird law, it doesn't mean that I know everything about Bitcoin holdings and the company's strategic, but I don't know any about that. That's not my forte. But one thing that I am pretty sure about, and this is related to a clip that I'm going to talk about a little bit later with Cedric Youngelman and Richard Byworth, it isn't in Strategy's interest to go sharing all of their inner workings, just like it isn't in Nvidia's interest to go sharing all of their inner workings, or Nintendo's to share all of their inner workings of their companies. It would kind of diminish in no small way their advantage of being whatever that company is if you are completely transparent with all the things that you're going to do. And when it comes to a company like Strategy, one of their advantages is how much Bitcoin they have. And if you're going around sharing that information and what you're doing with it and exactly how you're leveraging it, it diminishes that advantage. So that's all to say that if Saylor were to go post this all online and share it, it might very well completely destroy the company as it stands. It would unquestionably change the company in the way that it currently stands. For the better? I don't know. I don't think so. If Strategy was an exchange like FTX was, and you were running into issues taking self-custody of your Bitcoin, and you were running into errors and, oh, we're sorry, you can't do that right now, then that would absolutely be cause for concern. But that's not the case here. So I'm not sure why people are getting all up in a tizzy about this. And what's really amusing is those same people that were getting up in said tizzy didn't say anything. When Arkham comes out with this saying, breaking, we've identified even more of Saylor's Bitcoin, about 97% of all holdings. And they go on to say, we are the first to publicly identify these holdings. Whether or not that's completely accurate, it does seem like Saylor is actually doing the thing that he said he's doing. And then midweek or so, Jack said something along the lines of seedless is better, which is absolutely nonsense. Seed phrases are timeless here. Joe Burnett saying your seedless device is not. Something to think about if you plan on holding Bitcoin for a long time. And here is another situation where it's not a cake and eat it too type situation. There are going to be some instances where seed phrases are exactly the thing that this person needs. And then there's going to be other instances where that's a little bit too complicated. You cannot expect everybody to do exactly the thing that you are doing the way that you are doing it. This is like the little kid at the playground that goes, no, you can't like Star Wars. If you like Darth Vader, you have to like Luke Skywalker, and you can kind of like Yoda too, but he's kind of weird because he's green. But if you like anybody else, then you don't get to like Star Wars. You can like Star Wars or not like it however you want. Here's David Marcus of Meta, Lightspark, PayPal. He did a bunch of different things, and he's now trying to get Lightning integrated on a lot of different things. And he says, I can't keep track of all the companies now racing to accumulate Bitcoin. Only about 1.4 million additional Bitcoin will be created in the next 115 years. It's going to be so wild. I met Matt of Solo Satoshi down in Fort Lauderdale at the Mining Disrupt Expo there, and he was a great guy. He's who I purchased my Bitaxe from, and here he is getting one of his Bitaxes to mine with the power from a Cybertruck. It's pretty cool. Now, I'm not going to play this clip, but I'm going to include it down below. And this one is from Cedric Youngelman. He's talking to Richard Byworth, and Richard explains why it doesn't make sense for somebody like Saylor to be sharing addresses like that of his holdings. All right, to close this week out, if you haven't already, scan that QR code to get your tickets to the Mining Disrupt Expo happening in Dallas, Texas, November 11th through the 13th. Make sure you do that. Get those tickets locked in now at the best prices that you can, because as we get closer, prices tend to go up. So get those tickets locked in sooner rather than later. And I will see you next week.